Right now, though, let's talk about something that definitely doesn't work in this country, and that is, well, the ability to build anything, anywhere. Infrastructure projects, doesn't matter what they are, whether it's an airport third runway, a reservoir, a nuclear power station, anything we actually need, we can't actually get around to building. We have, amazingly, since its launch in 2010, started building HS2, this high-speed rail line between Birmingham and Midlands and the north. But now, even the last scrap of northern railway line of this is set to be scrapped itself. Rishi Sunak is expected to announce as early as Friday that the northern leg of HS2, the bit that does remain, could be scrapped. That's Birmingham to Manchester. A couple of years ago, the Birmingham to Leeds route was largely scrapped. That will leave basically a supposedly high-speed rail line between Birmingham and West London, not even central London. It's not even going to go all the way to Euston. He's managed to upset pretty much everyone in the north, everyone in the south, every mayor and pretty much every building company as well, and business leader. Well, let's talk about this with Lord Berkeley. Tony Berkeley is a former deputy chair of the government's HS2 review in 2020 and is now a Labour peer. Good morning to you, Lord Berkeley.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Look, this has been a fiasco from word go. I mean, there was no point when it wasn't considered to be a fiasco. Started off as £30 billion for a high-speed, high-capacity railway line. We're now talking about £100 billion. It's now going to be a fraction of what it once was meant to be. Is there any point in it at all? Should we scrap the whole thing?
Well, there is a point in keeping the bits that have been started, but the real problem is it needs repurposing, and the costs need to come down dramatically. We reckon it's about 180 billion now,
what?
Which is even more stupid.
Wait a minute, 180 billion. So it was originally 30 billion, and that was for basically a Y shape, wasn't it? So from Euston to Birmingham, and then going up to Leeds on one side and Manchester on the other. We've dropped the Leeds bit altogether. So even if we drop the Manchester bit, are you still saying it could be 180 billion?
Yes, I am.
Good Lord.
But the other problem is it's actually the wrong project for today. And when everybody in the north is complaining bitterly that it's not going to go to Manchester, what they should be complaining about is that it doesn't actually connect the cities of the north, Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, via Bradford maybe and beyond, with some decent railways. Because it's you get to Manchester and you get there from London, isn't that lovely? But how many people who live in the area and want to use trains every day to get to the schools, colleges, work or whatever, find another job, they're not going to go to London to do that. They want to have a good local service.
There was lots of evidence that actually even from word go that this was going to be more of a benefit for people travelling to London. It's about Londoners and London businesses than a benefit to people in the West Midlands and the North. There's certainly no levelling up going on. But northern mayors, whether it's Andy Burnham of Manchester or Andy Street of West Midlands and many others, have been saying for years and years now, well over a decade, I mean, before these guys were even in office, some of them, that what they need is these east-west links and the links from Birmingham northwards rather than, I don't know, what was the best plan? Taking 20 minutes off London Euston to Birmingham, which, by the way, under the new plan to go to Old Oak Common in West London, I've never heard of it. Some station basically in the suburbs, the journey between Birmingham and central London is going to be a minute longer, with a new high-speed rail link that costs us tens of billions of pounds. What is wrong with this country? Why are we unique in being unable to build anything, anywhere?
Well, Julian, we've been telling them for a long time that they've got the wrong project and it needs to be what I call repurposed. You say it'll take longer to get from your favourite station, Old Oak Common, to the centre of London, but that's actually not true. Because if the train's terminated at Old Oak Common, it's 3 stops from there on a new Elizabeth line to Tottenham Court Road, which we might say is near the centre of London, compared with 3 stops on the northern line from Tottenham Court Road to Euston. And then you've got the journey on the high-speed line from Euston to Old Oak Common. So, and the great thing there is you would save about £12 billion by closing that bit, cancelling that bit and spending it instead between Manchester and Leeds.
Now, here's the key thing. So you're just talking about all the different options and all the different train lines, from the opening of Crossrail and the Elizabeth line, as it's now called. It flabbergasted me, even as someone who lives in London and understands that, big cities, capital cities, they need to have strong transport links. It still flabbergasts me that we built yet more train services in the South East, which is already incredibly well served by train services, before building more train services for the vast parts of the country which just simply don't have adequate train services.
You're absolutely right. And I think the objective of people in the north and in the Midlands and Andy Street and everybody else should be to have a local and regional train service that is as good as the one round London. That's a perfectly good objective. It's called electrification.
Yep.
It's called improvements. It's called connections. And this is what they're not doing at the moment. And somebody needs to take a step back, say we're going to save the money by cancelling bits of the HS2, which only get you to London or north-south, and concentrate on east-west.
The stuff that's actually going to make a difference to people's lives. This thing, I was fascinated to read yesterday that in terms of electrification of trains, in the southeast, it's 80% of trains are electrified, and only 15% in the north. And the key thing there is electric trains, they're lighter, so you can have more capacity, an engine can pull more trains, they're more comfortable there, there's loads of benefits there. And it is extraordinary that the governments, the ministers always want to spend money on these big projects, isn't it? They just want all the glory, and they always turn into white elephants. When actually a lot of the stuff that really makes a difference to people's lives are the sort of local commuter trains. Bus services, people are crying out for. I know people who live somewhere there are 2 buses a day. Yeah. I get annoyed if I get to the tube station. I have to wait more than 2 minutes for a train. I'm like, good grief, how do I cope with this? People in London are so spoiled. They have no idea what most people the rest of the country have to put up with, and then they're told off for getting in their cars when they have no other choice.
Are we not talking about a vanity project here,
Yep.
which has actually passed its sell-by date? It does need reprofiling. We're not saying cancel everything and don't build railways, but Network Rail have had their budget for electrification cut and cut and cut. They want to do it, and they've got the people to do it, but they're not allowed to do it because all the money is going on HS2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. There is no money left. This is where the money's going. And I think a quote from the Treasury over the weekend was, if we keep on going with HS2, there's no money left for anything else.